Often as landscape photographers, you picture yourself capturing that amazing, award-winning landscape. Even after all the planning and preparation, things do and often go wrong. You visualise in your mind's eye that perfect, award-winning landscape photograph with stunning light, casting shadows across the landscape and the texture in the landscape, but rarely does that shot materialise. But why is that? What stops us from getting that fantastic image? Well, it's the things that we cannot control, such as the weather, nature, the harsh sunlight, the smashing down of the rain, the snow, the wind. All them things can ruin your day and the ability to get a great shot. Then we'll have the bugs and the beetles, which can be a pain in the neck. And then of course we've got people who get in your shot or get in the way of your shot, but more on that later in this vlog.
Hello there and welcome to this third vlog. I'm at this location, I don't even know what it's called. It's Waterfall. I just followed this river. I know there's a waterfall further down the hill, but I thought I'd come up higher along this river. I thought I'd get a few shots of this, but it is absolutely beautiful. I'm not going to advertise the fact where I am, but yeah, I'll get a couple of shots of this. I've got an aperture of f/18 and I'm shooting at about an eighth of a second. The sun is really harsh at the moment, so I'm waiting for it to go behind the clouds before I get my shot, because at the moment the contrast is just far too high. So yeah, I've got the polarizer on as well, just to dim down the reflections a little bit. There's a lot of reflections coming off the water, and I think this is going to make a nice shot. But my goodness, what a location this is. Why have I not found this before? Fantastic. Okay, let's hope the sun goes in. Basically, I am at a waterfall that I was probably the second waterfall I ever photographed, really. And it's a place called Hardraw Force. Fantastic waterfall. I'm so pleased. I've not been vlogging down by the water because it's just too noisy. There's quite a lot of storm flow coming over the top at the minute. And it's nice and white, which honestly, I think I've got a really banger of a shot. I have took a photograph here before. Well, so I've been here 3 times actually. The first time I came when my kids were little, so that was about 25 years ago. And then I was here a couple of years ago and I got quite a nice shot. I've tried to better it today. I think I've done that. If not, I'll put the previous shot I took up on the screen for you now so you can take a look at that. And yeah, it really shows scale. I put myself in the shot just to show scale. I think it really works well. I've tried that again. I'm not too sure if this time it works as well as the previous one, but I thought I'd give it another go anyway. So yeah, this is, like I say, Hardraw Force. You do have to pay at the entrance. There's free car parking. Then it's a short flat walk to get here. It's not very far. I think it's around about £4.50 per person to get in. There's a lovely coffee shop there as well, if you want to pop in and have a few drinks if the weather's too poor before you go take your shots. So yeah, it's really is a perfect place. And even like the surroundings are fantastic too as well. It's got some nice bridges and some other little waterfalls around the place as well. So without further ado, I'll show you one of the shots I've just taken, and then I'll show you the remainder of the shots right at the end of the video. So do stay tuned until the end. I'm down in a place not far from my home actually. It's Richmond Waterfall. This is quite a long waterfall. It stretches from one side of the river to the other. It's almost like a sheer drop waterfall, only I suppose it's around about 10 feet high, if that, in the highest place. At the moment there's tons of people down here. A bit disappointing really. It was cloudy and I thought there wouldn't be very many people, but I've got people now deliberately like standing right in front of the camera, which is really out of order. They can see that I'm taking pictures, but they're just doing their own thing. I mean, I'm not saying that photographers should have free rein, but at least just give us a chance to get a couple of photographs, but they haven't done that. I put my hand up to ask them to move and they're not moving either, so there you go. Like I said, this is Richmond Waterfall. It's on the River Swale. The Swale is a really powerful river, so you've got to be careful around here. There's been a few accidents over the last, even the last few weeks, there's been an accident as well. So yeah, it's a really strong current here. It's really popular with visitors. In fact, it's becoming more and more popular, which is annoying for photography. Really, the winter's the best time to come down here. I have took many shots of the waterfall or the waterfalls before. I'll put some of those up for you now. I think autumn is the best time to come here. We get lovely colours in the trees just to the far side of the falls, and it's a really easy waterfall to photograph in that you can get loads of different compositions. One of my favourite shots is this one in the fog. I really like this shot. It just goes to show you that sometimes just changing your viewpoint of a waterfall as well and getting quite low down you can reap the benefits from that. I'm going to try to get a photograph, although it's looking even more likely now because these people are in the water now. It's annoying because I only wanted to get like a quick 10-minute shot, but they're really ruining it. Anyway, I'll try to go somewhere else, but yeah, it's not looking good. I have made my way back down to Richmond Waterfall. Thankfully, there's hardly anybody here tonight, which is great. I've almost got the place for myself. I think there's 4 or 5 people around, but much better. I'm in a little bit better mood. And yeah, it's pretty good here. Although the sun is quite strong at the moment, it's gently rising up. The shadows rising up across the waterfall that I want to get a shot of. I've already been to a part of the waterfall over there, and I've got some low down shots and tried some intimate shots, more close-ups. What I intend to do in this section of the video is just put you in camera for a bit so you can see what's going on in terms of my settings and stuff like that, and I'll talk you through what I'm doing. The sun is gently, or the shadow is gently covering the waterfall, like I've said, and that's going to really help with my exposure, because although there's a bit of wind, I think I might be able to get away with not too much movement in the leaves, which always helps. You know, people who look at my vlogs often will know that I don't really like too much leaf movement. I think it's nice sometimes just to try something a little bit wider. I've mentioned, I think before in the second video that I made, that often if you go a little bit wider, it can give a nicer shot. So I think I'll try a wider shot. What I am getting at the moment is a lot of reflections, so I might have to try with a polarizer and see how that goes. Okay then, I will let you into camera and see what you think. First thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to line up this shot. I want a bit of this outgoing water in the frame, and I'm thinking about there. And then I'm going to just mess around a little bit with plus and minus exposure. I think I'm going to go -3. I've got F11 there, but I'm not really happy with that. I want to go for probably F22. I want plenty of depth of field. And my focusing point, I'm going to focus around about, that's going to be okay there. So ISO 100, getting around about 2.5 seconds. The sun is quite bright on the top part of the screen, but we'll take a shot anyway and see what that looks like. It's not too bad, but I think I need less of the highlights. It's very contrasty at the moment, so I think I'm going to drop it down a little bit more. I've just got to watch my histogram.
Here in image 1 you can see the resultant shot. 1/10 of a second at f11 on ISO 100. The sun was still very strong. As you can see, the highlights are still burnt out on the cliff face at the side. So I decided that the best option was to wait until the sun got a little less harsh, and I opted for an aperture of f22 just to make the most of the depth of field. You can also see in this picture that the movement in the trees is quite obvious, and actually this picture isn't totally pin sharp. If I'm not shooting in manual mode for waterfalls, my go-to setting is aperture priority. That's the best exposure setting for me, and it's the most flexible in terms of getting the best depth of field and getting the shutter speed that I'm after.
I'm struggling with the highlights quite a bit at the moment because of the strong sun, and the shadow is definitely starting to rise above the waterfall, but I don't know, I think I'm going to have to go with the polarizer just to cut down on a lot of the reflections and see if I can get the highlights down a little bit. So let's try it with the polarizer on. I'm just giving this a bit of a clean. It's just got some splash marks off. That's one thing about getting low down to waterfalls. Often you'll get a lot of water splashing up onto the front of your lens, and it ruins your shots. A couple of splashes can absolutely ruin a waterfall shot, so it's one thing to be aware of. Just make sure your kit is clean, really. I could do with some proper cleaner, really, because it's kind of fogging up a little bit. Right, anyway, not to worry. Let's get on the front of the lens and see what happens. So I'm old school. I've got one of those screw-on ones. I've not got a magnetic one. I'm not that posh. Mind you, if you're out there and you want to give us a set, I don't mind. You can see the difference now straight away with that polarizer. Much better. See, with, without. Huge difference. That's much better. That is so much better. I think we're definitely getting there. It's so much better with the polarizer on, as you can see. So just a few more tweaks, I think. Maybe just go down to maybe 1.3, or even let's push the board out and go for 1.7. Try that. I'm focusing in the same place as well, and let's see what that gets.
Here is image 2, and you can see this is a lot better. The sun isn't as harsh as what it was. The textures are a lot better, I feel, and the water in the foreground has got a little bit more flow and movement to it with the longer exposure. I don't like these two rocks in the three rocks in the foreground really. I think are dominating the picture too much, and then in addition to that, on the right hand side, the rocks leading off to the distance don't add that much to the picture. I think in hindsight, moving more round to the left, although I didn't have my wellies, moving round to the left would have produced a slightly better picture. But I do like, with this longer exposure at f22, I do like the movement of the water does add a little more to the picture, but all in all, it's just an average composition, I feel.
So final shot of the night, and I want to go for a long exposure. Let's just make sure everything's zeroed back down to where I want it to be. I've got the lowest ISO possible. At the moment, I'm on f22. I'm going to switch over to manual mode and put it on bulb, and then I'm going to go for an exposure of around about 3 minutes. I'm going to need my 10-stop filter fitted to the front. Again, it's a screw-in filter, nothing fancy. I've put my camera lens onto manual focus. The body is on manual focus. I'll have to remember to shut the eyepiece, and then once I'm set up, I've got my cable release. Once it's on bulb, I'll press it, and then I'll just time it for 3 minutes. I won't keep you hanging on. If the shot's any good, here it is. So that's me finished down here at Richmond Waterfalls. I do hope that you've enjoyed tuning into this one. As I've mentioned, this is vlog number 3. I intend probably to do maybe 1 or 2 more, and that'll be it. Probably up to episode 5, and then I'll be moving on to another project, something different. I don't know what yet though. As for everything else, lately I've been doing a couple other things. I went up to Crosby Beach in Liverpool to take a picture of Anthony Gormley's sculptures up there. I've been meaning to do that for a long time. Here's a couple of shots now and see what you think. They're not too bad, they're nothing like an award winner, but I do rather like them. So that's another thing ticked off. Next week, or towards the end of next week, I'll be traveling up to Northumberland. So I will probably do a vlog up there. So do tune in for that one when I put that together. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put up a few of my favourite shots from over the last few days, from up on the Dales, and the waterfalls from today and over the last couple of days as well. Thanks as always for tuning in. If you haven't liked the video, that would be much appreciated. And if you're not a subscriber and you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, it all helps. So that's it for now. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye for now.